Pattaya is one of the most vibrant and controversial destinations in Thailand. Known for its beaches, intense nightlife, and a unique blend of cultures, the city attracts millions of tourists every year. But amidst all the bustling streets and famous landmarks, there is a place that sparks curiosity and mystery. SOI6. If you've heard of this street, you probably have an idea of what goes on there. But do you know the true secret of SOI6? In this video, we will explore this iconic street and reveal everything tourists need to know before visiting. You will understand why SOI6 has become so famous, how it compares to other areas of Pattaya, and what surprises await those who decide to experience this place up close. But before we continue, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and leave your like. This helps us bring more exclusive content about travel and curiosities around the world. The first impression of Pattaya and the impact of SOI6. For those visiting Pattaya for the first time, the city may seem like a true tropical paradise. During the day, busy beaches, boat tours, and historic temples dominate the scene. But at night, the city transforms. The streets light up with neon signs, music echoes from the bars, and the energy of nightlife takes over the atmosphere. In this setting, SOI6 stands out in a unique way. Unlike the famous walking street, which is one of the city's main postcards, SOI6 has a more segmented reputation. It is not a traditional tourist destination, but rather a place that piques the curiosity of those who wish to explore the lesser-known side of Pattaya. This short and seemingly ordinary street hides a fascinating story. Over the years, SOI6 has undergone various transformations, becoming a meeting point for different types of visitors. Expatriates, adventurous tourists, and even local residents are well aware of the region's fame. But do they all know what truly makes SOI6 such a unique place? What you need to know before exploring SOI6. SOI6 is not just a street with bars and entertainment. There is much more behind its fame. Those who walk through it during the day may be surprised to find a relatively calm environment, with some shops and small restaurants operating. But as the sun sets, the street comes to life, and the flow of people increases significantly. It is exactly this duality that makes SOI6 so interesting. At night, the atmosphere changes completely. Colorful lights illuminate the facades, loud music fills the air, and activity grows. But beyond what is visible on the surface, there are details that many tourists overlook. Throughout this video, we will reveal little-known curiosities about SOI6, as well as valuable tips for those who wish to visit safely and enjoy the best that the region has to offer. From information about the history of the street to the precautions tourists should take, this complete guide will help you understand what really happens on SOI6. What's next? Now that you know why SOI6 is such a talked-about place in Pattaya, in the next chapter we will explore its origin and evolution over the years. After all, how did this street gain its reputation? What happened there for it to become one of the most talked-about spots in the city? Keep watching and discover what makes SOI6 such a unique place. If you ask a resident of Pattaya about SOI6, the answer can vary quite a bit. For some, it is just another street in the city, a place that is part of Pattaya's nightlife identity. For others, it is one of the most iconic and controversial points in the region, full of stories, changes, and surprises over the years. But what exactly makes SOI6 such a well-known place? In this chapter, we will explore the location, history, and transformations of this street, as well as compare it to other famous areas of Pattaya. With this, you will understand why SOI6 has become one of the most mentioned names when it comes to tourism in Thailand. Where is SOI6 and why is it so talked about? So, I6 is located in the heart of Pattaya, connecting the busy beach road to Second Road, two of the city's main avenues. Unlike Walking Street, which is a pedestrian-only area known for its high-level entertainment, SOI6 is a relatively short street but with intense energy. Its small size does not prevent it from being one of the most dynamic places in Pattaya. During the day, the street may seem calm, with some shops and cafes open. But as night approaches, the transformation is evident. The neon lights turn on, music starts playing, and the influx of visitors increases drastically. SOI6 has become known mainly for its nightlife and lively atmosphere, but there is much more behind its reputation. To better understand its impact, we need to look at its history and how it has evolved over the years. The history of SOI6 and its evolution. Pattaya has not always been the bustling tourist destination we know today. Until the 1960s, the city was just a fishing village with quiet beaches and little infrastructure. However, during the Vietnam War, American soldiers began visiting Pattaya as a place for rest and leisure. With this influx of foreigners, the city began to transform. It was during this time that streets like SOI 6 began to gain notoriety. Small establishments emerged to cater to the growing demand from visitors. Over the years, SOI 6 has undergone various changes, keeping pace with Pattaya's evolution as a global tourist destination. Today, SOI 6 reflects this blend of cultures and styles. Unlike Walking Street, which attracts large crowds and tourists of all ages, SOI 6 has a more specific audience. Many expatriates and experienced travelers are well aware of the region's reputation, but not all traditional tourists explore this part of the city. How does SOI 6 compare to other famous streets in Pattaya? To better understand the uniqueness of SOI 6, it's worth comparing it to other tourist spots in Pattaya. Walking Street, the most famous street in the city, filled with upscale bars, nightclubs, and entertainment shows. It attracts a diverse crowd, including couples, groups of friends, and even families looking to experience the hustle and bustle of Pattaya. SOI Buakaw. Known as the expatriate area, the street features a mix of local bars, international restaurants, and a more relaxed vibe. Unlike Walking Street, which caters more to short-term tourists, SOI Buakaw attracts long-term residents and travelers seeking a more authentic experience. SOI 6, while the other streets offer a wider variety of entertainment options and bar styles, SOI 6 is known for its more straightforward atmosphere and unique energy. It is a place where visitors find an experience different from what the rest of the city offers. Each of these areas has its own characteristics, and the experience for each traveler can vary significantly depending on what they are looking for in Pattaya. SOI 6 today, a place in constant change. In recent years, SOI 6 has undergone some transformations. With the growth of tourism in Thailand, the street has begun to attract a more diverse crowd. New establishments have emerged, offering different types of experiences for visitors. Despite these changes, SOI 6 continues to maintain its unique identity. For those visiting Pattaya for the first time, it can be a curious place full of surprises. For those already familiar with the city, SOI 6 represents an important part of the local nightlife history and culture. If you have never been to SOI 6, you might be wondering what really happens there. This is a common question among tourists visiting Pattaya for the first time. Unlike other famous streets in the city, SOI 6 has a particular energy that can be surprising for those who don't know what to expect. Let's explore what it's like to walk down this street at different times of the day, the type of crowd that frequents the place, and how it differs from the rest of Pattaya. By the end, you will have a complete view of the SOI 6 environment and be able to decide if it's worth including in your travel itinerary. SOI 6 during the day, a discreet and almost ordinary street. Those who visit SOI 6 during the day may be surprised by the contrast between its fame and the daytime reality. In the morning and early afternoon, the street is relatively quiet. Some shops, small restaurants, and cafes open their doors to serve local workers and a few passing tourists. The bars and characteristic establishments of the street are still closed or operating with little movement. The atmosphere during this period can even seem unpretentious. Some people use SOI 6 merely as a shortcut to reach Beach Road, hardly noticing its importance in Pattaya's nightlife scene. For those who prefer a more laid-back stroll, walking through SOI 6 during the day can be an interesting opportunity to get to know the area without the night's hustle. But as the sun begins to set, the street transforms completely. SOI 6 at dusk, the change in atmosphere. In the late afternoon, SOI 6 starts to gain new life. Some neon lights are already on, and the movement gradually increases. The bars and establishments begin to open their doors, and the energy of the street becomes more dynamic. At this moment, you start to perceive the true identity of SOI 6. The music gets louder, the streets fill with people, and a relaxed yet vibrant atmosphere takes over. Many tourists choose this time to explore the street, as there is still a mix between the calm rhythm of the day and the excitement of the night. It's interesting to note that even before night falls, SOI 6 already shows its most striking characteristic, the interaction between tourists and expatriates. Unlike Walking Street, which attracts a more general crowd, SOI6 has a more segmented identity, with patrons seeking a specific experience. SOI6 at night, the peak of excitement. As soon as the sun sets, SOI6 reaches its peak. The street becomes filled with vibrant colors, music playing from different establishments, and intense movement of tourists, expatriates, and locals. The atmosphere is electric, with people talking, laughing, and enjoying the night. The bars are in full swing, and the energy of the street is contagious. Depending on the day of the week and the time of year, the intensity of the movement may vary, but in general, SOI6 maintains its lively rhythm almost every night. At this point, it is clear why SOI6 is such a famous place. What seemed like a discreet street during the day has now transformed into one of the busiest spots in Pattaya. This contrast between calmness and euphoria is what makes SOI6 so unique compared to other parts of the city. Who frequents SOI6? The crowd at SOI6 is quite varied, but there are some profiles that frequently appear there. Curious tourists. Many first-time visitors explore SOI6 just to see and understand its reputation. Some pass through quickly, while others decide to enjoy the night and experience the atmosphere of the street. Expatriates. Thailand is one of the most popular countries among expatriates, and Pattaya is home to a large community of foreigners living in the city. Many of them regularly visit SOI6, whether to socialize or enjoy the night. Locals and workers in the area, in addition to tourists and expatriates. SOI6 is also frequented by local residents who work in the area or have businesses nearby. This mix of cultures and nationalities contributes to the unique atmosphere of the street. This diversity of people makes SOI6 an interesting place to observe and interact with different cultures. Unlike other areas of Pattaya, where the crowd can be more homogeneous, SOI6 brings together visitors from all over the world. What sets SOI6 apart from the rest of Pattaya? While Pattaya has several busy streets full of nightlife, SOI6 stands out for some unique factors: compact size and intense atmosphere. While other areas of the city are more spread out, SOI6 concentrates a huge number of bars and establishments on a relatively short street. This creates a much more dynamic and immersive environment. Segmented audience. Unlike Walking Street, which attracts tourists of all profiles, SOI6 has a more specific identity focused on those seeking a more intense and direct experience. Contrast between day and night. No other street in Pattaya changes its atmosphere throughout the day as much as SOI6. This aspect makes the experience even more striking for those visiting the area. By now, it is clear that SOI6 is not just another street in Pattaya. It has its own atmosphere, a specific audience, and a dynamism that sets it apart from any other place in the city. However, what many tourists do not realize when visiting this street is that there is a secret about SOI6 that few know. Let's explore a little discussed aspect of this famous street, revealing something that most visitors ignore. Whether due to its history, recent transformations, or overlooked curiosities, SOI6 holds details that only those who truly understand Pattaya can perceive. The story behind the fame. How did SOI6 become what it is today? To understand the secret of SOI6, we first need to look at its trajectory. Unlike other streets in Pattaya that developed in a more structured way, SOI6 had almost spontaneous growth, following the flow of tourism in the city. In the 1960s and 1970s, when Pattaya began to become a popular destination for American soldiers on leave, the city experienced a boom in the entertainment sector. Streets like SOI6 emerged to meet this new demand. Over time, Pattaya ceased to be just a refuge for soldiers and began attracting tourists from all over the world. What few know is that SOI6 has had periods where it nearly lost its relevance. During some economic crises and changes in local laws, many establishments closed and the street became less crowded. However, SOI6 has always managed to reinvent itself, adapting to new tourism trends and securing its place in Pattaya's nightlife scene. The secret behind SOI6, much more than meets the eye. Now that we understand the evolution of SOI6, let's discuss the detail that few tourists notice when visiting this street. Many people see SOI6 only as a nightlife entertainment spot, but the true secret of this street lies in its social and economic role within Pattaya. While most tourist streets in the city are exclusively aimed at foreign visitors, SOI6 has a different dynamic. It functions as a true community within Pattaya, where local residents, expatriates, and workers in the tourism sector coexist daily. Here are some aspects that go unnoticed by most tourists. SOI-6 as an expatriate hub. Many of the regular visitors to SOI-6 are not short-term tourists, but rather foreigners who have lived in Pattaya for years. The street has become a meeting point for this community, functioning almost as an informal neighborhood within the city. Some expatriates even invest in businesses on SOI-6, contributing to its economy. Cultural transformations over the years. Unlike Walking Street, which underwent significant modernization, SOI-6 has retained much of its original essence. The pace of the street has changed little over the years, making it one of the last areas of Pattaya where you can see the city as it was decades ago. For those seeking to understand Pattaya's history, SOI-6 is a true time capsule. Economic influence and financial activity. Although many people do not realize it, SOI-6 is one of the streets that generates the most money within the city's nightlife tourism sector. Small local businesses depend directly on the traffic of the street to survive. Contrary to what many think, the economy of SOI-6 is not solely based on casual tourism, but also on the local community that works and lives in this region. The true experience of visiting SOI-6. Now that you know the secret of SOI-6, it becomes easier to understand why this street has such a strong identity. Unlike other parts of Pattaya that are more commercial and solely aimed at tourism, SOI-6 has an almost communal character, something that many visitors do not immediately perceive. If you are thinking of visiting SOI-6, here are some things you can do to have a more authentic experience. Observe the environment closely. Instead of just quickly passing through the street, try to notice the details. The regular patrons, the way people interact, and the dynamics between tourists and locals are part of the charm of SOI-6. Talk to expatriates. Many people who have lived in Pattaya for years regularly frequent SOI-6. If you want to hear stories about the city and better understand its culture, talking to these people can be an enriching experience. Explore beyond the obvious. SOI-6 is not just about what is most visible. Small establishments, local shops, and hidden restaurants are part of the scenery and can surprise those who look more closely. The future of SOI-6. What lies ahead? With the continuous growth of tourism in Thailand, it is natural to wonder what the future of SOI-6 will be. Some changes are already happening, with new regulations and adjustments to the street's structure. The trend is that SOI-6 will continue to reinvent itself, just as it has in the past. However, it is difficult to predict whether it will be able to maintain its original identity or if it will undergo a modernization similar to that which occurred on Walking Street. Regardless of what happens, SOI-6 will always have its place in Pattaya's history. For tourists looking to experience the city beyond traditional tourist spots, this street remains one of the most authentic and interesting places to explore. If you are planning a trip to Pattaya, these tips can make all the difference in your experience. Keep following along to ensure that your visit to SOI-6 is safe, fun, and unforgettable. Now that you know the history, atmosphere, and secret of SOI-6, it's time to talk about something essential for any tourist: how to make the most of this experience. Although it is a fascinating place full of energy, SOI-6 requires attention and some precautions to ensure your visit is safe, enjoyable, and free of unforeseen issues. We will cover the best times to visit, what to do and what to avoid, safety tips, and ways to save money while exploring this famous street in Pattaya. Best time to visit SOI-6. The experience you will have at SOI-6 can vary greatly depending on the time of your visit. During the day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you just want to see the street without the nighttime hustle, this is the best time. The shops and small cafes are open and the street is relatively quiet. You can walk leisurely, observe the architecture, and notice details that go unnoticed at night. Early evening, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is an intermediate time when the bars start to open and the movement gradually increases. It's a good time to explore the street without the fast pace of nighttime. At night, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. This is the peak of SOI-6 when it is filled with tourists and expatriates. If you want to see the street in its most vibrant version, this is the ideal time. However, the intense activity requires more attention to safety issues. Early morning, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. After most bars close, the street becomes emptier and the atmosphere changes. Safety can be a factor to consider, as there is less movement and some establishments start to shut down. What to do in SOI 6 to make the most of your experience? If you want to explore SOI 6 without issues, here are some helpful recommendations. Observe the environment before entering any establishment. Before choosing a place to spend more time, take a stroll down the street and observe what each bar or cafe is like. Avoid entering places where the staff insists too much for you to come in. This is a sign that the focus may be more on making quick money than on providing an authentic experience. Talk to expatriates and locals. SOI 6 has a community of regular visitors who know the street's dynamics well. Talking to these people can give you a deeper insight into the place. Many expatriates share interesting stories about Pattaya and its transformations over the years. Try something beyond the bars. Although SOI 6 is famous for its nightlife, there are some alternative options for those who just want to explore the area. Small hidden restaurants serve typical Thai dishes that are worth trying. Some local shops sell souvenirs and unique items from Thailand. Maintain a respectful and friendly attitude. Thai culture highly values respect and courtesy. Even in a relaxed environment like SOI 6, it's important to be polite and treat people with respect. Avoid arguments or aggressive behavior, as this can be frowned upon by locals and even cause unnecessary problems. What to avoid in SOI 6? Like any busy tourist destination, SOI 6 has some pitfalls that can catch the unsuspecting tourist. Here are the main mistakes you should avoid. Accepting suspicious offers. If someone approaches you offering something free or a special discount, be wary. Many tourists fall for scams by accepting offers without questioning. Always confirm prices before consuming any product or service. Carrying too much cash or valuable items. Since the street is busy, it's always good to keep your belongings secure. Zippered pockets or fanny packs are good options to prevent theft. Prefer to take only the essentials, and if possible, use cards instead of carrying large amounts of cash. Drinking too much and losing control? It is common for tourists to overindulge in drinks and become vulnerable to scams or unpleasant situations. If you choose to drink, do so in moderation and always stay aware of your surroundings, ignoring local laws and cultural rules. Although Pattaya is a liberal tourist destination, there are laws that must be respected. Taking photos or filming without permission may be frowned upon by some locals. Always ask for permission before capturing any moment. Showing a lack of respect for Thai culture can result in negative reactions. How to save money in SOI 6? Thailand in general is an affordable destination for most tourists. But if you're not careful, you could end up spending more than necessary. Here are some tips to avoid wasting money in SOI 6. Compare prices before buying anything. Some establishments inflate prices for tourists. Ask for the price before consuming, and if you find it too expensive, look for other options. Avoid paying with a card whenever possible. Although many places accept cards, some extra fees may be charged for international transactions. Having some cash on hand can help avoid unnecessary costs. Research establishments before visiting. If you want to go to a specific bar or restaurant, it's worth checking online reviews to ensure the place has a good reputation. Take advantage of promotions and discount hours. Many bars offer happy hour promotions in the early evening. If you want to save money, this is the best time to enjoy good prices. Conclusion: how to ensure a safe and fun visit to SOI 6? SOI 6 is one of the most unique places in Pattaya, and if visited responsibly, it can provide an interesting and unforgettable experience. To ensure a smooth visit, remember to choose your visiting time wisely based on the type of experience you want to have. Be cautious when interacting with strangers and avoid falling for scams. Maintain a respectful and friendly demeanor. Take care of your belongings and avoid displaying valuable items. Know the prices before consuming any product or service. With these tips, your visit to SOI 6 will be much safer and more enjoyable. After diving into the history, secrets, and essential tips for tourists, it is clear that SOI 6 is much more than just a street in Pattaya. It represents a piece of the city's history, a place that has transformed over the decades and continues to play an important role in Thailand's tourist identity. But now comes the big question: is it worth visiting SOI 6? The answer depends on what you are looking for in a trip to Pattaya. If your intention is to experience the more authentic and less touristy side of the city, then this street may be an interesting destination. However, as we've seen throughout this video, SOI-6 requires attention and respect to be enjoyed to its fullest. Let's recap the main points discussed, share some reflections on the impact of SOI-6 on Pattaya's culture, and of course invite you to share your opinion about this unique destination. Summary of key points. Before concluding, let's remember the main aspects we explored in this guide. SOI-6 has a rich and complex history. From a simple fishing village to becoming one of the most well-known tourist spots in Pattaya. The city has undergone significant transformations, and SOI-6 has been at the center of this change. The atmosphere of SOI-6 changes throughout the day. During the day, the street may seem calm and discreet, but as night falls, it transforms into one of the busiest places in the city. The real secret of SOI-6. Many tourists see the street merely as a place of entertainment, but its economic and social importance within Pattaya is much greater than it appears. Essential tips for a safe visit. Choosing the right time, avoiding scams, and maintaining a respectful attitude are essential factors for ensuring a good experience. By knowing all these details, you now have a complete view of what to expect from SOI-6 and can make a more informed decision if you choose to visit it. The impact of SOI-6 on Pattaya's culture. Over the years, SOI-6 has solidified its fame and become one of the most mentioned names among those visiting Pattaya. However, it is interesting to observe how the street is viewed differently depending on who frequents it. For casual tourists, SOI-6 might just be another street filled with bars and flashy establishments. For expatriates and regular visitors, it represents an essential part of Pattaya's nightlife and social identity. For local residents and workers in the area, SOI-6 is a source of income and a space for cultural interaction. This contrast of perceptions is what makes SOI-6 such a unique place and often misunderstood by first-time tourists. And you? What is your opinion about SOI-6? Now that you know the history, secrets, and details of this famous street, we want to hear your thoughts. Have you visited SOI-6? How was your experience? If you haven't visited, are you curious to check it out? Do you believe that SOI-6 is part of Pattaya's cultural identity or just a tourist spot like any other? Leave your comment below. Your opinion is important and helps enrich the discussion about this fascinating destination. Keep following the channel. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more videos exploring unique places around the world, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. Turn on the notification bell to be alerted whenever we post new content. Leave your like to help us bring more comprehensive guides like this one. Share this video with friends who are planning a trip to Thailand. Our goal is to provide useful information, curiosities, and practical tips so that you can make the most of your travels. If you have any destination suggestions you'd like to see on the channel, leave them in the comments. Our next video will explore another lesser-known side of Thailand, with exclusive tips for those wanting to escape traditional tourist routes. If you like this guide about SOI-6, you will definitely enjoy what's coming next. See you in the next video.